Good afternoon and welcome. This webinar is a collaboration between the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs, VA Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships, CFBNP, and the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement, CDCE. My name is Trulester Pauling. I am the Senior Outreach Specialist in CFBNP. I will be your moderator this afternoon. Everyone's phone has been muted. If you have a question during the presentation today, please type it in the Q&A box on the right of the screen. I will read the questions at the end of the presentation, and the presenter will provide a response. This presentation will be made available after the webinar to everyone that joined today. This is a live recording. I would like to thank Mr. Wesley Wall for this collaboration. We are grateful for your time today. But before we get started, I would like to introduce Mr. Conrad Washington, Director of the VA Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. Mr. Washington serves as the director, and he is a retired combat Marine with 20 years of active duty service. Mr. Washington is a licensed minister actively serving in his faith. He received his Master's Divinity in Pastoral Studies from Moody Theological Seminary, Master's in Business Management, and a Bachelor of Science degree in Education. Additionally, he is a graduate of VA's class of 2017 Virtual Expired Leaders Program. Mr. Washington.
Thank you, True. I appreciate it. And thank all of you for joining us today. We appreciate you stopping by. As I always mention, there are many opportunities for you to join other virtual platforms, but we're glad you chose the VA, Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships. I also want to take time to thank Mr. Wesley for joining us. We appreciate you, sir, for taking time out of your schedule to share knowledge today on how folks can volunteer within the VA across the country. I think that's very important. I'm not going to steal your thunder because I don't have any thunder to steal because I don't know as much as you do, obviously, but I do want people to know that there are great opportunities to serve. On the line, I know we have many faith leaders. We have many people who want to serve. And I know that in my faith, part of that serving is serving each other. And so this webinar is geared towards providing an opportunity, a platform for those who desire to serve. And you don't have to be a veteran to serve. You just need a heart to serve. You don't have to be a man or woman of faith to serve. Again, you just have to have a heart to serve. And so I appreciate you joining today, and I think it's going to be very, very beneficial to you. So thank you and be blessed.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. At this time, I would like to introduce Mr. Wesley Walls, who will be providing today's presentation. Please read a summary of his bio on the screen. Mr. Wall has served at VA since 1997. He currently serves as the Communications Specialist for the VA Center for Development and Civic Engagement in the VA Central Office. In his current role, he oversees various communication avenues for the National CDCE Program Office. Mr. Walls received his Master's of Arts degree in Corporate and Organizational Communication from West Virginia University and received his Bachelor of Science degree in Psychology from Fairmont State University. He is a VA Nationally Certified Mentor and a VA Healthcare Leadership Development Program graduate. At this time, I give you today's presenter, Mr. Wesley Wall. Mr. Wall?
Thank you for that warm welcome, and I really appreciate the Center for Faith-Based and Neighborhood Partnerships for allowing me to talk about CDCE and the importance of volunteers and donors across the country in serving our veterans. Today's agenda will provide you with a CDCE overview. I will go over volunteer types, volunteer assignments, benefits of becoming a volunteer, programs, and then at the end, I will show you how you connect up with your local CDCE office. To begin with, this is the strategic framework in our core business lines at VA Central Office's CDCE. On the left there, you can see our vision is to create a VA culture that serves the well-being of veterans through strategic engagement of volunteers and community partners, as well as the professionals who facilitate their involvement. We have 3 pillars we call LCI. That's leadership, collaboration, and impact. We strongly believe that we should identify leadership and management competency gaps and facilitate continuous training and development, investing in our CDC offices and leaders to ensure that they provide the best experience for our volunteers and our donors. Collaboration, that is where we sustain and build internal and external strategic partnerships, and then really impact how do those partnerships and collaborations affect our veterans and the services that we provide. Our mission statement is to facilitate the strategic integration of volunteers, donations, and community partners for the purpose of enhancing care and benefits for America's veterans. Our three core business lines on the right is voluntary service. That is the onboarding and volunteer recruitment aspect of our CDCE. The next is philanthropic engagement, which is how we reach out to our donors to support with monetary and in-kind donations and possibly service. And then lastly is partnership solutions, developing those programs and partnerships that will definitely benefit our veterans, families, caregivers, and survivors. Thought I'd showcase the national statistics for FY23 to you. And last year, fiscal year, we had 25,403 volunteers. Those are regular scheduled volunteers. The total hours that regular and occasional volunteers gave to VA was over 3.2 million hours, which equated to the independent sector value of over $112 million. Our total donations, that's in-kind and monetary donations to VA, was over $81 million last year, and a total resource impact of over $193 million. So with these numbers, you definitely can see that we have a lot of dedicated individuals, organizations, and community partners who support us through volunteerism and through their charitable donations of in-kind and monetary donations. So really, how do you become a volunteer? The two easiest ways are to contact your local CDC office, and you can do that, or you can go to the website, www.volunteer.va.gov. On the slide, I highlighted the yellow area where you can volunteer or donate now. You can also go to those two tabs, volunteer and donate. That will lead you over to our portal, and this is the portal. And you simply click on volunteer at a facility. That will connect you up to a quick form, and you will identify the area that you'd like to volunteer, and then that local CDC office will connect you up with their process to onboard and begin your journey as a volunteer. The two other aspects on this slide are donate at a facility. That aspect will allow you to make a donation to a specific VA medical center to their general purpose fund accounts. VAs have many, many different avenues for you to donate to, and you can link up on there to do that. And also you can do donate online. This allows you the ability to make an e-donation to the facility and general post account of your choosing. So how do you become a volunteer? The process is simple. It begins with you contacting the CDCE office, and they will set up a background screening, a health screening, orientation. Some VAs have this face-to-face, some have this virtually, some have this as a package. It depends on which VA that you will contact. There also, in addition, when you're onboarded as a regular volunteer, there is some site-specific training, such as if you were going to be a greeter at the main entrance of a VA, they might want you to learn the directory, emergency codes, or how to properly clean a wheelchair or transition a veteran from a vehicle to a wheelchair. So there is some site-specific training involved. In addition, you'll also submit a volunteer application package to that CDCE office. And if you want to become a volunteer driver, the requirements are a little more stringent because you are driving our veterans in vehicles, so you have their lives at stake here. And so you'll have to provide your driver's license, your insurance card, and you'll also have to pass a physical provided free of charge by the VA. That physical is to ensure that you are safe and sound to transport the veterans from their homes to their VA scheduled appointment. If you do successfully become a volunteer driver, a vehicle will be provided to you, and the scheduling will be done based upon your schedule. So if you could give a certain day of the week or a couple of days a week, then that schedule will be set and the veterans will be scheduled by the hospital service coordinator. A lot of our volunteers really enjoy this assignment. So as I alluded to earlier, there are two types of volunteers, regular and occasional. A regular volunteer completes that onboarding process I mentioned earlier and does orientation. Those volunteers are also issued a badge. They do receive personal recognition throughout the year, such as an awards ceremony, and are invited to certain employee functions as well, maybe the Christmas party for the facility. And they have a set schedule, a dedicated assignment, and a site supervisor assigned to them. And that schedule, again, is set by the volunteer. Most VAs do like to see a 4-hour commitment when you come in per day. And that 4-hour commitment will allow you to give enough to serve our veterans and provide a meaningful service to you. Occasional volunteers, on the other hand, do not complete the volunteer process. They receive group recognition. So if you have the Boy Scouts of America come out and do a project, that group would get recognized. And it's really program or service project oriented, such as what you see with the individual on the left here doing groundskeeping services. Something to note is the National Cemetery Administration does have volunteer opportunities. Some of those are groundskeeping, maybe Wreath Across America, or during the upcoming Memorial Day, placing flags at the National Cemetery Administration headstones. So there's many different opportunities for occasional volunteers to offer their support to our veterans. Lastly, training for occasional volunteers is usually provided on the spot. And that usually goes over how to interact with veterans, privacy, security, and things of that nature. So these are the two types of volunteer opportunities that you could explore when coming to the VA. This list is not exhaustive. It is a list of volunteer assignments most VAs have. I will go through them pretty quickly here. The first one is escort. As you can see in the top photo there, escorts move veterans from various locations in the medical center. That way, if they can't get there, they can have some support from those escorts. A lot of our volunteers do enjoy this assignment as it gives them a way to communicate with our veterans and provides a lot of exercise as you're walking around the medical center. So if you like to be mobile and interact with veterans, this assignment's definitely for you. Food pantries, kind of twofold here. There are food pantries that are held off campus, maybe as a food bank, and your organization or you can donate time to give food to veterans who are coming to these food pantries off campus. Some VAs have on-site food pantries. As you can see in that bottom right picture there, you could help move some food to those locations and maybe look at distributing food throughout the week or whatever the schedule is for that VA medical center. And of course, if you have an organization that would like to make a donation to support the food pantry, that can be done with our CDCE office as well. I mentioned groundskeeping earlier. Some organizations like to come in and do beautification projects, maybe flower bed or do a raised garden and support those initiatives at the VAs. So those are done seasonally as well. Our homeless program, VAs do put on homeless veteran stand downs. So there's opportunities for your organization to give back collectively there. Maybe you'd like to provide a breakfast or a lunch during that event or provide a service at the event. Maybe you can help give items out to those homeless veterans at these homeless stand downs. In addition, the homeless program also takes in a lot of collections and donations. There's opportunity for there as well. And they do point in time counts where volunteers will go out and actually count homeless veterans in the community. There's some opportunities for your organization or volunteer opportunities there. In the area of music, reading, and activities, fishing, many opportunities are in play for your organization or yourself to provide music, maybe on the community living center, the main entrance. Maybe your desire is to read to a veteran that might not be able to do that anymore. And there's also opportunities to play games, video games, bingo, movies, host movie nights at your VA medical center. And also this last one we'll explore a little bit later, going on fishing and camping trips with veterans. This next one's Red Coat Ambassadors. And a Red Coat Ambassador volunteer is a volunteer who greets veterans at the main entrance. It's almost like an escort, but mainly stays at our main entrance. It's that first smiling face and warm greeting that you receive when you come into the medical center. And they're usually wearing red coats, thus the name Red Coat Ambassador. So if you like to interact with a lot of veterans and family and community members, that assignment would be for you. And there's definitely a need for this across the country. Virtual assignments, I will go over one in the next slide, but virtual assignments are just that, assignments that are off campus that could be involved with communicating to a veteran, could be maybe at that National Cemetery Administration that's not at the VA Medical Center, or it could be doing an outreach event off campus. Again, volunteer driver, these are our volunteers who are driving patients from their homes to their VA scheduled appointments. Again, this schedule is up to the volunteer themselves. It can be as little as 1 day a week, or it could be as great as 5 days a week. And whatever schedule that you would like to set, the CDC office can work around you. Again, this is a great need from our CDC offices across the country. There are a lot of veterans who are not able to get to their appointments and are relying heavily on our volunteer transportation network to bring them to their appointments. I have seen a lot of our volunteers in my site really enjoy this and have been noted as becoming family members, extended family members, and enjoy this service quite well, and actually move different appointments throughout their retired career to ensure that veterans get to their appointments. And as stated previously, this is not limited to just veterans. Veterans and non-veterans can volunteer for any of these assignments. The last one's whole health. VA has moved into whole health modalities such as Tai Chi and yoga. There are many opportunities for volunteers to step up into these whole health realms and provide services to our veterans. Some veterans are doing bee classes and how to raise bees. Some are doing gardening. Some are doing some virtual classes, music classes. So this is a different area for you to explore as well. All of these assignments are ones that we have ready for you, but you also could be creative or have an idea that you think could benefit a veteran, family, caregiver, or survivor. So I challenge you to reach out to your CDC office if you have one of those innovative ideas that could be either in person or completed virtually to make sure we benefit our veterans. I listed 5 programs here. They're a little bit different in my mind than the assignments. They could be looked at as assignments if you want. But our first one's Compassionate Contact Corps. And the lady there on the right in the PowerPoint is doing a Compassionate Contact Corps phone call. This program reaches out to socially isolated veterans. It was really born out of the pandemic. And these volunteers receive special training to be able to communicate with veterans appropriately on these calls. And really, that's all that they are, is calling veterans each week to check in how they're doing. These are not healthcare calls, more of another extended friend or family member, or for those veterans who may not have anybody else that checks in on them or talks to them. That program is really an excellent program. The American Red Cross and Soldiers Angels help us with volunteers with this. And if you feel that you have some extra time and can make phone calls to our veterans, see if your VA has a Compassionate Contact Corps. Guitar for Veterans. This program actually teaches music in the form of guitars to veterans who may not have had any musical talent prior, over a 6 to 10 week course. And after the completion of the course, the veteran receives a guitar. So we're always looking for donations of guitars for VAs who have this program to award to our veterans. When I was in the field, I saw the benefit of this program tenfold, where I had a veteran come in and could not play or read music at all. After the course, in about 1.5 years, they formed a little band there and would play for my Welcome Home and homeless stand-downs, and they really, really benefited from this program. The Healthcare Talent Academy, The top right picture there connects medical students with medical professionals at our VA medical centers. This is not at every VA, but it will lead me into youth volunteerism. So if you have youth who are between 14 and 18, VAs can offer some volunteer opportunities for them to learn a little bit about healthcare and have some experiences in the VA system and work with veterans closely. These experiences have led to youth volunteers becoming future VA employees and becoming connected with veterans, their families, caregivers, and survivors. The Help Heal Veterans program is a craft program provided by Help Heal Veterans. They do look for volunteers at the VA sites to assist veterans with doing the crafts such as woodworking, model kits, paint kits, coloring books, things of that nature. Also, you could help supply your time by filling in the donations when they come in for the area that the HHV craft program exists. Lastly, Project Healing Waters. This organization is dedicated to fly fishing. They teach veterans how to make flies, and then once their flies are created, they actually take them out and do camping and out trips to fish with their completed work. There is very, very great stories from this project, and you can see your benefits tenfold when you see these veterans take their flies out and see them at work. So the benefits of volunteering are recognition with our regularly scheduled volunteers, a sense of accomplishment that you've completed a task, you've put a smile on a veteran's face, you provided a service that these veterans may never have experienced before. You develop lifelong relationships. As you can see in this photo, we have a young student with a mentor, youth leader. These two are probably going to be lifelong friends and communicate in the future. And that lifelong relationship could extend also again to being a VA employee if you're a youth, to experience the healthcare environment. And you also can supplement VA staff, meaning that you can take some tasks from our VA staff that provide care to our veterans and free up some time that they may otherwise put towards taking care of the veterans' families and caregivers. And lastly, I think the most important bullet is giving back to those who have served our nation, veterans. There's no other greater reason of volunteering but to spend time with our veterans and experience their stories and their jokes and their history. So that's really the main reason I see to benefit as a volunteer. Quickly, I want to go over these 6 VA adaptive sports and arts. These are larger events that your organization or volunteers can get involved with. They do move from area to area. Some of these move area to area, but they are a way for you to connect up with veterans, disabled veterans in the Winter Sports Clinic and Summer Sports Clinic. As you can see on the right there, that is a volunteer helping this disabled veteran ski. That was at the Winter Sports Clinic. There's also opportunities for the National Veteran Creative Arts Festival. This is done locally where veterans showcase their artwork, woodwork, model kits, singing locally. The top 3 then get forward into the National Creative Arts Festival where the top ones are selected and get to be showcased at a creative arts festival. And then we have the wheelchair games, which is games for disabled veterans in wheelchairs. It's a great event. I've been to one of these, and just to experience the success from these veterans is something that you should experience yourself and have your organization involved with. National Veterans Golden Age Games is the precursor to the Senior Olympics. A lot of great success stories here of veterans who may have never done a game before, and then you see their smiles, and when they come back with their medals that they've won, it's just a great experience for volunteers in your organization to see your benefits. Lastly is that Veterans Golf Clinic. The VA puts on a disabled veterans golf clinic every year to showcase veterans when golfing. The last slide here is Centenarian Recognition Program. CDCE nationally has been coordinating the Centenarian Recognition Program since August of last year. This program honors veterans who are turning 100 years old. Began with Secretary Wilkie and Secretary McDonough has continued this program. Since August, we have awarded 227 of these. All it takes is for you to nominate a VA enrolled veteran through your CDC office, and they will input this into the system. It'll go for a first line review, and then it goes to the Secretary's office. And at that point, a letter is generated that is signed by the Secretary, and a coin is presented with that letter sent, and the centenarian will receive that. And as you can see in these photos, these are two centenarians, 100-year-old veterans. And some VAs will put it in a frame with the letter and the coin. And the lady below, she's showcasing some flowers that were given to her during her centenarian event. So if you have any centenarians that you would like to recognize, I ask you to please contact your local CDC office so that we can process them for recognition. If you have any questions or want to see more information how your organization or you can become a volunteer, you can check out the website I mentioned earlier. And if you have questions about a national organization or you have a larger question about how to get involved, you can contact the CDC office at that email provided. It's VHA15CDCE staff@va.gov. That QR code there can go to the volunteer website, so you can scan that and it'll take you right to that website. That concludes my presentation for today. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, Wesley, for that very informative presentation. I learned so much today. That was absolutely wonderful. I do not see any questions in the Q&A box right now, but to our audience, if you do have any questions, we do have Mr. Wall's point of contact information where you can reach out to him. There on the screen, you see the link to the volunteer office to get additional information if you like. At this point, I'm going to turn the mic back over to Mr. Washington for closing remarks.
Thank you, True. Thank you, Wesley. We appreciate your great information. I just want to share a couple of things to the audience. Remind everyone that we have 3 to 4 webinars each month, and many of you know that. I would just ask that you share the links with those to sign up as well. So if you know someone who's not attending, please let them know that they can sign up for webinars to get the alerts so they can join as well. And also know that these webinars are recorded and we put those on our website under recordings. So please share that information as well. And thank you all again for joining us. We appreciate you. Take care of yourselves and be blessed.
Thank you, Mr. Washington. You can also reach out to our team for any additional information. You can see our point of contact information on the screen. If you registered for this event, we will provide you with today's presentation, a recording, or this webinar will be provided on our website at a later date. Please subscribe to our website, and Facebook for future webinars and information. Thank you for joining us today. Have a good day. Thank you. Bye-bye.